So we're going to work with brown owl today, or a barn owl on those. This has once again, I took this photograph into Photoshop and created a created kind of a cutout filter, poster edge filter. Those are the two filters I've used. But it creates it into 3 or 4 different values. You can kind of see them pretty easy up here. There's kind of a white area, there's kind of a light gray, there's a dark gray, and then there's a black area. And those are the 4 values that we're looking for to create a realistic painting of animals or anything for that matter as we start to work through it. And so, as we've done in the past, let's create a little bit of an outline drawing. Hopefully this will not be too intimidating. I got to get my pencil to actually work here. I think we're all but dead on the lead portion of it here. One of the disadvantages of... there we go. Okay, so I'm going to move this kind of up a little bit, and maybe we do some initial drawings on this. So we want to make this into simple shapes that we can utilize on this one. And a lot of times in drawing you need just a basic 4 or 5 sided shape will work for you. I'm looking for maybe a pen that I can use. Maybe this blue one will work on that. And so let's just look at the drawing here first off and try and figure out maybe some shapes that we can work with. Let's do this one. I'm just going to, from the top of his head or her head down to the bottom like that. Okay, that's a pretty straight line. Now there are some changes as it comes through here. That's okay. And then the top of the head is pretty flat too. And so I'm looking for the basic envelope that I'm going to draw, and that's going to be something that's not more than 4 or 5 sides. And then I'm going to do this one here like that. And then I think I can probably, I could make this with one side. Maybe I make this with one side coming down like this, and I'm going to come straight down. Maybe that will work. And so that's that part. And there are 2 birds, and so I'm going to do this part here too on what it is we're trying to accomplish. And so that is the basic structure of the drawing that we're going to try to create on those. Remember, when we're trying to create some sort of envelope, some sort of basic sort of shape that we can draw that's not as complicated as all these little pieces that are going in here. And so I've done some outlines. Now there's obviously some parts that are cut back in and some things down and through here, up over top, back down. That's okay. But I can draw this. I can wrap my head around this little drawing here. So let's draw that. I'm going to put this up just a little bit, and maybe maybe we can fit it in here where I have a little bit of a reference on the side maybe as we get going through here. I'll bounce them back and forth. Okay, so the cool thing about here, there's kind of a lighter edge here where there's some wood down at the bottom. So if we would like on that one, we could just draw that in first off, and that's just a straight line across. If you want a ruler, you could do that, or you can just kind of freehand it. And so there's a little bit of the structure of the wood that's down there on the bottom. So if we just lightly draw that in, that was pretty easy. That was this one here, right? We took this one across here and just drew that little piece in. And I guess that's important because that does give me a place to start down here. And I'm looking on my paper, and that's about halves, right? About right in the middle. So if I'm wanting to do this, I divide my paper in half here, and I'm just going to come down a little bit because the top of the head of the owl is not, it's down just a little bit. We see just a little bit of the top part. So guess and come out as far as you want with those. And then this line here is this one, right? And it goes from the corner. I'm just going to line up some of my tools so you can see it. It goes from here all the way down here to the corner. And since we have kind of a beginning point and an ending point, and we need to keep these somewhat similar, that's it. That's the line that we have here. So I'm going to turn this sideways, and I'm going to try and lightly draw that line in like that. Okay, so I got it. I got it. Way cool, huh? That was it. That wasn't too bad. Okay, I'm curious about this little part on the top here. How far should we go there? Well, if I divided this out into sections, you know, it's almost a third to the edge. So if I went 1/3, 2/3, third on that one, so if I divided it out here, I'm just going to put a little bit of a mark there and a little bit of a mark here. So I have it about like that. Is what I'm looking for. And that's where this one is going to go here. So I got that line, and I got that line. This one is going to be cool when we get over here. But let's just work on this one. And I'm just going to do a parallel on that. So this line here is going in this direction, right? And so I just need to draw a line that's parallel to that. So make them to go the same direction. I'm not worried about length yet on that. A lot of times I do some preliminary guesswork just as I get going, but it's not crucial on that one to be a length. So I guess right there on the ending point. So that's cool. All right, so that looks somewhat reasonable. You know, it might needs to be sharper, and so I'm make that just a little bit sharper in there with those. Okay, so now I have this one, this one, this one, and now I'm going to draw this other one that's coming down this way. I'm going to move this over here. Whoa! Have my paintbrushes flying around everywhere. Holy smokes! Okay, so I'm after this line right here. I'm going to set it off to the side. Now, here's some other thing I've noticed about this line. I'm just going to do this. Do you notice that it ends? I noticed this part because that's the type of thing I do. That the top of his head right here, right, the corner that we drew a line to, and then where the foot is down over here, the end of this line, they're the same distance apart on those. So if I just did something like this, and then put a little bit of a mark, like right here, then I know that this line right here, starting from the spot I designed there, I have a beginning point and I have an ending point. That's pretty simple, huh? Okay, let's do that. Okay, so that is the envelope for owl number 1. The main envelope for the owl that we have is right there. While we're at it, let's just make the other one that we have. Now we know from this point here that there's just a line that's going over here, a horizontal line. Now in looking at it, it's not very far. It almost follows those thirds again, right? If I divided these areas up into 3, 1, 2, 3, the final third is here. Interesting how that works out. So this is about half. So I'm gonna guess there, and I'm going to guess there. That looks like about a third. That point right there. And that's good. Here's a cool one about this one, is this line is going right down to the corner. Now assuming these papers are about the same size, and so that's kind of good. So this line kind of goes like this, right down to the corner. Similar in direction to this one, not exact. This one looks like it could be in just a little bit more. They look almost identical on this one, but I think my paper might be a little scrunched. But that's going to work for me. I'm going to make that work. And then I'm looking at this line here. Here's the end. Here's the beginning. Halfway is about here. So a little over halfway is how far down the other envelope piece goes here. So if this is halfway and a little bit more, and then this line here is the same as this line here, These two are parallel. Now I have drawn some of the initial structure for the owls, right? And that gives me some placement. While I have this piece here, I want to draw some of the background structure too, and hopefully get that a little bit more concrete. So, like right out here, we'll use our magical blue pen. Is there some background structure? Right? And then we have a little bit of wood planks on the side. So this is a bottom plank, this is a side. And then over here we have some more little wood planks. Different sections of wood. Like that. And if I draw those in, that's gonna help me out in the long run. Okay? And so I just wanted to get that out there from the beginning. So, and these ones you don't have to be as crucial about. Like this one is coming up here. This line, bring this down here so my paper's lined up. This line and this line are going the same direction, they're parallel. And then as this one comes down, its beginning location, let's do this one right here. This kind of divides out about halfway, huh? So if I go halfway, I got to get that line in first. I'm going to guess. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to guess. My guess is this. It goes to the corner-ish. Maybe I'm a little low. This paper is not quite the same size, so I'm going to take it there. Since these are kind of a little more random. And then I'm going to divide this one out here. So this kind of rotates a little bit, huh, as it comes down. And then maybe this one is, there might be a little bit of a something there. So that's pretty easy. Over here, the board on this guy is just below the top of the head of the owl. And about halfway down. Oh, over here we got to do the white part first. And then halfway between is about here. This one kind of lines up with this one if you're using your imagination pretty good. Okay, so now we got the background structure in. I got the basic shape of where the owls are. And just with that, you can kind of see it almost, huh? You can kind of start to see where the owl is going to be with those. That's not too bad, huh? Okay. Now let's do some refining. A little bit of refining on that. I'm going to do this. I want this line right here. It's a curved line, kind of like that, for the underside of our owl on those. And it starts about halfway down here. It starts about where this one starts, huh? Just a little bit above. And so let's slide this up. My end point, it's a lot of times helpful to have a beginning and an end. And so I'm looking at the place over here on this line where it intersects. That's about halfway. That's about halfway, about right here. So that's the end point. The beginning point is going to be just past here. So that's about where the beginning is. So the beginning is here. The end is over here. And this is just kind of a curved line. Curved line. Like that. That was cool. So I'm looking at the leg. The leg is about right in the middle of the leg, is about the middle of that arc. Maybe the front of his leg is in the middle of that arc. And so I'm just going to take this back like this for his leg, right here at the bottom. It starts here, right? That's right there. And it goes up this direction. So we'll get that direction going. And about halfway, we have this part of the leg, the furry part coming down. And then this part back here is just a little, it's a little wider. It's not, these aren't parallel. It's kind of angular. That's where we have that part. Okay, that's pretty awesome. Sweetness. But I don't need this line anymore. Now let's take off our paper, and we can see that it's not too bad. That's really not too bad of some stuff that's happening. Let's go and make some more adjustments. Okay, for this main bird, there's a part that comes down like that, and then this kind of rounds out and down. Rounds out, rounds down, like that, right? So let's go back to our drawing. Bring our drawing over here. And we have some pretty good located indicators where things are. This board right here, this line with this board, is where that drops down. And so I'm to establish where the end point is, I'm just going to follow this line in, go in about maybe a ½ an inch on those. And then we also see that the crown of his head actually sticks outside of that a little bit, and so, but it curves right here. So I'm going to put this as the curvy part, maybe the top of his head right there. So now that I know that this one comes up like this is a beginning point, and then I'm going up and then reaching the curvy part of the head right there, that line kind of falls into place. Then the arc of his back is coming down here. I'm just going to pick about the halfway point. That's about right here. So this is going to be a slight curve out like this. Then this is going to be a slight curve in like this. Instead of a straight line, it's more of a curved line. And now I can come and lift out these extra lines, right? I didn't need that part there anymore. And then I can continue out with these background lines. Now the top of his head is also curved instead of a straight line here. So let's just round that off a little bit. Rounding that off like that. And then this is probably more of a curved line as well. It does stick out quite a bit for his face, and then it comes back in a little bit, maybe there, and then it drops down. So we have a little bit of a roundness of the head of the barn owl, and then it cuts in a little bit. And making those minor adjustments to a straight line, making a straight line just slightly more curved, is usually a lot easier than trying to just draw the whole thing just from initial sight on those. All right. So now I have the outline structure of my barn owl on this one, which is kind of cool. I haven't done the interior yet. Okay, we will do the interior on that sort of thing, but the outline of the bird we kind of got going well. Now we have the second bird that's back here, and half his head is hidden. And so let's use the same basic shape as this. You know, this kind of flattened on top, little rounded edges, and so kind of flatten on a little rounded edges like this, like that, to create the top of his head, which is similar to this one. Okay, now his back. Let's see here. I got to look a little bit closer on here. So back, there's not much of a shoulder on this owl. This owl had a pretty dominant shoulder here area on this one. This one has his neck all scrunched up a little bit, so there's not as dominant of a shoulder, and then it's going to come out and around it this way. I will say that it looks to me like this part. I'm going to draw this line right here, just a straight up and down. So if I bring this over here like this, and I'm looking at here's that little cross mark, and maybe right here, if I just drew a line that was straight up and down, a vertical line right there, that would probably be a little bit better of finishing up that whole shape. And so I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to come back and lift this part out. So that's his basic structure. of his shoulders. But birds aren't truly square, so I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to round it so it's not squared, and then a little bit of his head right there. A little bit of an indentation around his shoulders and wings. Now we don't have a lot of detail on that one, so however we make it is what it's going to do. Oh, no. This one I can leave. I can just leave that just like that. So what do we got? Pretty good. Pretty snazzy. Okay. Let's jump into some of this interior structure that we have with our bird to try and finish off some of these this drawing a little bit. Maybe one of the things, we need to know how far down the chin is, really, don't we? But fortunately we have some good indicators. This dent right here is right here, and so let's do just a little bit of drawing on some stuff. I'm going to draw a straight line here. Okay, that's going to be kind of cool. And I'm going to do a straight line here. And these, you notice, are kind of V'd in the same direction, like a V. And then I'm going to make this go up like that. So I kind of have this little shape right here. And I'm going to take this all the way up to here. And then I'm going to go straight across the top. So now I've created kind of a five-sided shape, right, that we have going right here, like a home plate. And so that's kind of the deal, the home plate of the face that we're doing. So where is that exactly? As I'm looking at this one here, as this diagonal comes in like this, it kind of follows the same line as the bottom part of the home plate. So if I'm following this guy here, granted it's a little bit there. So I have this line, this line, this line, and it goes over about halfway, right? Half the distance. Okay, the home plate is there. So I'm going half the distance of the overall face is right there. And this one has to come down to about right there. So to create the other side of the home plate, I need this V part to go up kind of like this. So this is a reflection of this side here. I got it too sharp. Like that. And the cool part of the home plate, how far is it? Is it in fact about equal? Look at that. It truly is about equal as far as these corners go right here. So these are the same height. These are about the same distance. So this line here, this line here are about the same distance. The home plate doesn't go straight up. It kind of angles just a little bit like that. But it goes up pretty high. It actually goes up right about where this intersects here, almost to there. So maybe I need a little bit more. And then it's going to cut across like that. And so that's the home plate of the face. This I've already made some adjustments, so I don't need to make any more on that sort of thing. So that basic home plate shape is going to be enough to help us map out the facial features a little bit more. So within this whole home plate, the cool thing about barn owls is they really kind of have a heart-shaped face. So this down here where it comes down there, and then they have kind of an indentation right here where there's a heart, top of the heart. That's where the top of the face is here. And so that comes here. And then that rounds out a little bit here. And then the heart rounds out on this side as well and comes on down like that. And so this side of this heart is going to round up as well. So what we've done now is we've drawn a heart right in here, and that's the basic shape of the face of the barn owl, where it changes on those. How cool is that? I don't really need that anymore, huh? So we got the heart-shaped face. Now I'm looking here. We've got to draw a V in here, kind of a curvy V. Boom. Curvy line down. And you can make just a plain V shape. And so the beak is going to be about right here. Let's just guess. And it goes to the side a little bit. And then the top of the eyes, I'm going to put about right here. Sometimes you just guess a little bit. That's where that eye is. Then this kind of is up and then over this way a little. And then this eye, you need these eyes about the same height. So the curve this side and the curve on this side are about the same height. Like that. And this curves out to about a 90-degree angle. And then within here, let's just do this. Let's do a counter curve like this for the eye this way, and a counter curve for the eye this way. And now we have kind of the nosal feature here. This comes down a little bit. I'm seeing some things there maybe. But it looks like there's a little bit of a cut here too. This line area. Maybe this sticks out a little bit more. It looks like it does. But there's a little bit of some feathery stuff happening there. And so we got that basic shape. Oh, holy smokes, I got blue! Blue ran through it. I don't know if I'll be able to incorporate the blue into the thing here. But we'll definitely work through it. Okay. That's kind of cool. Let's go here. I'm just going to draw this one. This is the shape I'm looking for here on this guy's face. And so it's just a little bit of a line going diagonal parallel to this one. Like that. And it's got to come down maybe even past his chest a little bit. Right into there. So this owl's initial facial feature is there, up, curve. Now he has some other light grays and stuff that we see coming like this. And then you see a little bit of the eye, just a little bit of the eye is hidden back here. So as far as the basic structure, man, we're almost there. Let's go ahead and do this little wing thing here. This is coming down right here. We've drawn this line, right? It comes down here like this. And then when it gets about halfway, this part here, as it comes down, is just his wing. Comes down like this, almost a straight line down and a little bit back. And then over here, there seems to be a little bit of a section right here that's just a little wider where the light is. And then coming there like that. This one has some straight features right here, right? Coming down here, maybe a bit curved. Like that. And so that gets the feature of the back. The back bird is basically has a lot of the initial facial features done. Now when we start to divide up into values, there are other value sections in here. But I'm not going to get too crazy about that yet. I didn't want to go for forever and ever. Let's do one final thing, and I'll call this one kind of good. And that is the wing area. The shoulder comes off here, and then this part comes down right here. We decided that's his face. But then this part sticks out a little bit here. And then this is where the front part of the chest is here. But this just curves down here, down to the foot. Curves down to the foot. There is a little bit of some more features over here too, the other foot. But that's enough. That's enough for right now to make a pretty good drawing of our bird, of the two birds together. And that's pretty complete. We can do, like I said, we'll next time we'll divide it up into sections. But that's a good outline drawing, a good start for our outline drawing of our birds as they're sitting in their barn. Like that.